Hey everybody, I'm so excited to be joined by Eden Wilson today. She is a phenomenal leader and woman in STEM, and I'm so excited to hear her story, hear her thoughts on advocating for yourself and being a confident leader. But I will let her introduce herself first, and then we'll dive into the interview. So take it away, Eden.
Hi everyone, my name is Eden Wilson. I am the founder and owner of my YouTube channel and website, Lemonerdy, and the co-founder of Lemonerdy University. I'm a senior in high school. I'm about to be going into college pursuing computer science, and in my free time, I like to do cheerleading and play my cello.
Awesome. Okay, so first, my question for you is just tell me more about Lemonerdy. It's so cool. I've been perusing it, and I want to know about why you started it and what gave you the idea and just what's your goal with Lemonerdy. I'm very curious.
So I've always grown up as kind of an influencer because my mom was a mom blogger. So when she would review different products and things like that, she had to get the kids' perspective. So I
Mhm.
would do different product reviews for her, and I love being behind the camera or in front of the camera. I was really good at it. So I wanted to start my own YouTube channel. It started out as just a hobby. I just liked making videos, performing, and just sharing what I loved. And as my interest evolved towards coding in about sixth grade, I started creating code. I started showing off my coding tutorials or showing off my coding projects. And then once I was a freshman, I actually made my first coding tutorial. And I got so much feedback from girls around the world inspired by seeing a Black girl or a girl who looked like them, or just a girl in general, teaching them to code, which is a pretty rare sight on YouTube, especially for kids content. And I just saw how much of an impact that I could make by continuing to do it. So throughout the pandemic, I continued making coding tutorials. I still make other videos like life vlogs and different things like that. But right now, Lemonerdy is really just a place where kids of all different backgrounds can come and feel free to nerd out about whatever things that they like. I have a lot of different interests on my channel. So while a lot of it's coding, I also do cooking and gymnastics and all sorts of stuff. But right now, my goal with Lemonerdy is to expand my startup, which is a branch off of Lemonerdy called Lemonerdy University, which is
Mhm.
a peer-to-peer STEM education platform where young tutors teach even younger kids how to do different STEM subjects like mostly coding. And I'm still in the progress of making the courses. So right now, my goals are just to make more content and create the courses so that eventually I can help teach other younger kids how to make courses that will inspire the next generation of girls in STEM.
That is just amazing. Kudos to you. And wow, I bet it's exciting though to see other people celebrate what you've been doing and the feedback that you were saying before about young girls inspired by you, seeing someone like you doing something that had never been done before. I bet that's just wonderful.
It is, it really is, especially when I was a freshman, sometimes I would just go through the different comments and kids, they just say all kinds of stuff. Like sometimes it's really cute, sometimes it's super sweet, sometimes it's a little creepy. Like some of them have like found my pictures on the internet and made like a slideshow. And like it's kind of cute, but it's also like, why are you stalking me? But they're kids, like their role model. I would do the same thing if I had somebody who looked like me teaching
Mhm.
computer science back then. And I that's like the best part of it is seeing how much the kids love it. That's really just it's super rewarding.
I bet that's wonderful. Yeah, I feel like when it comes to creating something that's never been seen before, that does take a lot of courage. You didn't have anybody to model off, or it would, or in your initial decision to start creating these coding videos, was there ever a moment where you thought like, "Oh, I can't do this. Oh, this isn't gonna work. Like, I'm not good enough." And if so, how did you kind of get over those feelings?
Um, I would say not necessarily while I was creating the videos, but more when I was in computer science spaces outside of creating my own content. So when I was creating my own videos, it was mostly during the pandemic. So
Mhm.
I was kind of isolated in my own space. I didn't really have a lot of outside influences telling me I couldn't do it. And I was just, it really seemed like something that was just within myself. I knew that I could do it. And I didn't really have
Mhm.
anybody to tell me that I couldn't. So I kept doing it. But the next year, which was my sophomore year, I was still making the tutorials, but I was in my first like official computer science class in high school. I was taking AP Computer Science Principles, and when I walked in the first day, the classroom was like full of boys and seniors, and I was a sophomore. I was like, I don't know any of these people. I had gotten lost because it was our first year in person at the school. I walked in late, and I had to sit at a table full of boys, and like so the desks were facing each other. So
Oh,
it was
no.
just like I had no idea who they were, and we were supposed to be being quiet, but my desk faced away from the board. So I was just like trying not to make eye contact with them because it's like the only place I can look is either there or turn all the way around. And
That's
it
crazy.
was super awkward. But
Oh,
by the end of the year, I like the same boys whose like eye contact that I had avoided, I was like low key scared of them. They ended up like asking me to help with their coding projects by the end of the year, and they like I wasn't intimidated by them at all. So
that's awesome.
I definitely did feel like a little bit of a confidence issue in AP Computer Science principles and then later on in AP Computer Science A. But how I overcome that is really just being affirmed in the fact that it's not necessarily how good I am at coding at all levels that makes me
Mhm.
special. It's the fact that whatever I do know, I'm willing to teach. And the
I
talents
love
that I do
that.
have, I'm willing to share. So the thing that's really special about me is the fact that I'm sharing what I know and that I want to uplift others, not necessarily my accomplishments or what I can do individually, but what I can do for other people.
I absolutely love that. That is beautiful, and I completely agree. I think that empowerment is a huge core value of mine because, as I'm sure you've seen, the work of one person can only do so much, but if your work is giving other people the opportunity to pursue their passions or giving them the skills or the strength or the resources to achieve something that they couldn't have done otherwise, then your impact is just maximized. And it's just a beautiful thing to see when your choice to care about somebody else's future, invest in somebody else's potential actually produces something tangible and something that couldn't have been done without your initial choice to care. So I definitely I commend you for the work that you're doing and for the reasons why you're doing it. And I wanted to kind of I touched upon I caught a few different phrases that you said that I really like. The first being "What's special about me?" And I love that you specifically said that because I think it really does speak to a core piece of what it means to be a confident leader, which is recognizing what your strengths are and not being afraid to share that. Because I think that a lot of times, I don't know if you felt this, but a lot of times there is kind of an internal battle of, am I bragging versus do I need to just lay low and not seem like I'm just like this egotistic, um, arrogant person who's just hung up on her achievements kind of thing. Um, so in terms of that kind of dynamic, have you ever been in a situation where you have where somebody maybe has either under kind of underestimated you or made you feel like they weren't actually valuing your what you had to say? And if you have been in that kind of position, what did it feel like and sort of how did you react and respond?
Well, actually, when I was going from AP Computer Science Principles to AP Computer Science A, so AP Computer Science Principles in my school is an introductory class. So there's computer science principles and there's beginning computer science, but beginning computer science isn't AP. So AP is basically like the highest value class you can take as a beginner. But then there's intermediate and then there's AP Computer Science A, which is pretty much the highest one. But
Okay.
usually you don't skip intermediate and go straight to AP Computer Science A. and I wanted to go straight to AP Computer Science A without taking intermediate. And I went to my teacher and she said, "Oh, you're probably not going to be able to get into that class. Everybody that I've been sending over there is getting rejected by that teacher." And those were students that I guess she thought were um, better students or better in the class than I was. But she told me she wasn't going to give me the recommendation form to get into that class, but I believe that I was good enough that the class wasn't super hard. It was really only my confidence that was an issue in that
Mhm.
class. So I went to my counselor, I got the form myself, and I went to his
Go,
class.
girl.
And as I came inside, I saw someone from another AP Computer Science principal's class getting rejected and saying that he was telling them that they couldn't take the class. But I went up to him anyway. I explained my background and explained what I had done before, and he gave me a test to take, and he wanted me to write out an algorithm on paper.
Mhm.
I think it was something like you have a list of numbers and you have to pick out everything that says that every number that's 999 or something like that.
Okay.
And he asked me if I knew Python. Now, I had been trying to teach myself Python very briefly, maybe for less than an hour, or like trying to refresh my memory of Python. And he asked me if I knew Python. So I was like, I know Python. But we had mostly been learning JavaScript in AP Computer Science Principles. When he was like, if the syntax isn't perfect, that's okay. So I wrote some strange combination of JavaScript and Python, but it ended up working. I explained my process to him. He told me that I had created an infinite loop and the computer would have crashed. But I was able to explain to him how I got to that answer, and if I had just like added a break, or I don't remember what it was, that
Uh-huh.
it would have been okay. But it was a simple thing to fix. And because I was able to explain my process, and because I had the confidence and articulation and the determination to make sure that I could take that class, then he said that I could. And I was one of the few people that was able to skip intermediate, and I ended up getting a 4 on the AP exam. So that was
Oh, that's
the story.
fantastic. That's awesome. I love that story because that is just the epitome of what we need more girls to hear, that you can take charge of your own destiny. If there's something you want, go take it. Go fight for it. I love that you were not afraid to go take what and get what you want, even though so many things told you no. I love that, and keep doing that because we need more girls and women like you who see the world say no and are like, "Forget you."
Great.
So, um, one thing that I wanna pick out from your story is that again, that theme of creating your destiny. You knew what you wanted. Has there been a situation, though, where maybe you didn't know what you wanted, but you still had to kind of figure out, like, I'm thinking in terms particularly of Lemonerdy and building that. I'm sure there have been times where you've kind of been in a rut or maybe not sure what to do in a certain situation. Have there been particularly any, like, mentors or, individuals who have helped you get through those challenging times, and how do you think your relationship with them, helped get you through those challenges?
I think my mom has definitely been very instrumental in helping me get through some rough times with Lemonerdy because
Mhm.
so sophomore year around second semester was when this company called DIY.org, which is it's a course-based platform for kids which teaches all sorts of things from arts and crafts to coding, which I think my coding course is like one of very few, but they called me to create a course for them, and I had never created a course before, but they had people that would show me how to create the course, figure out what I wanted to teach and everything like that. But there was a time of where it was pretty much just scripting, and while I had all of my other homework and activities and gymnastics and things to do, I still had to write out scripts like word for word what I was going to say in every single video when I was
Goodness
usually used to
gracious.
doing everything live.
Yeah.
And of course, I had to code the game and then take videos of me doing it and then explain it and type it all out. I ended up writing like 17,000 words worth of scripts, which is a small self-help book. Actually, it took a lot of work. But that time there I had to write 26 scripts, and it was really difficult just in terms of time management and getting everything done. But my
Mhm.
mom was always there to encourage me and make sure that I helped plan out my time. If I needed an extension, that she would help me advocate for myself. And even though that was a really difficult process, I think that she helped me a lot just by helping me keep it together and just what I stick to my promises and stick to my word and make sure that I produce what I said that I would.
I love that, yeah. Keeping your promises is also a huge value of mine. I feel like when it helps with building trust and establishes you as somebody who can be depended on and reliable. Um, and so I love to hear that you were able to have somebody to kind of to support you in that because I think that one piece when it comes to women in STEM a lot of times is there is that feeling of being alone or being not knowing who to turn to for help. And that can be very alienating, but having having a network already built, having somebody that you know you can turn to as you as you said in your case, you know, was really essential. Um, I really am very curious to hear your thoughts on some of these more like young woman specific questions because obviously, you know, you are especially unique because you are a young woman doing these things that women like twice, three times your age have been doing. Um, and doing it so well too. So I really want to hear your thoughts, particularly on what it's been like as a young person trying to break into the world of STEM and what your experiences have been like. So, and particularly, how do you think your identity as a young person has played a role in the way that you've pursued opportunities or come up with ideas? How do you think being a young person has kind of added an extra layer to that?
I think being a young person has really contributed to what I do, um, because it's helped me see that peer-to-peer education, and just the role models and diversity for young people are really important
Mhm,
because growing up, I didn't have a lot of role models who look like me, and just doing that one coding tutorial or two coding tutorials and seeing how the kids interacted and being young enough that I'm on a similar level with them and I can talk to them and I can really connect with them. I feel like that
mhm,
contributed to my mission because it helped me realize how important it is have to have role models that are peers or slightly older because it's just really inspiring. I've seen it myself, I've felt it myself, and I see it in my younger students. So I feel like being a younger person has just helped me to hone in that perspective and see the importance of having role models as a young person.
yeah, I completely agree. I feel like I don't know if you've noticed this too, but there are a lot of organizations that are really about, you know, empowering girls instead and bringing more young people into spaces. But if they themselves are not being led by young people, then how are they ever going to actually understand what we need and what it's like to be us? So the fact that you are kind of taking that peer-to-peer model is really interesting and exciting to me, um, because I think you're headed in the direction that we should be headed, which is allowing the people who we're trying to serve to direct the change themselves. So, like my nonprofit, for instance, we're really focused on youth leadership and us leading the charge for equity in STEM. Because how are we going to create a space that's conducive to the needs of the next generation if the next generation is not involved in these decision making processes?
Right.
Um, and so I feel like it's the same with your organization in the sense that how can we provide comprehensive STEM education to young people if the young people are not the ones telling us, you know, how do I learn best? What's most interesting to me? So I love that you've kind of hopped on the bandwagon of you know youth leading that I think is the wave of the future. So it's great to see everything that you're doing around that. Do you have any particular, hopes and visions for Lemonerdy University in the next months, years?
I'm hoping to work on it more over the summer and create some courses myself, and then hopefully maybe the next summer or the summer after to start bringing in more peer more sorry, bringing in more instructors and training the
Right.
instructors because I don't want to just rely on me. Of course, I'm getting older and I want, younger teachers and other people to have the opportunity to build build their resumes, build their skills, and I can just teach them everything that I've been able to learn as a YouTuber and just inspire more kids, have more kids that could be role models because I can't necessarily or maybe I can, but I can't necessarily be an exact role model for maybe a young Black boy or a young Hispanic girl, and I want to have a huge diverse pool of teachers, and I want to expand that more in the future. So in maybe this summer or in the coming months, I want to have some of my courses up as like a proof of concept and continue pitching
Mhm.
and raising funds so that I could have more instructors.
I love that. That's awesome. That's a great mission to have to increase the diversity of your team. I think going back to what you said before about role models, that's a huge part. Being able to envision yourself is it's hard to envision yourself doing something when you don't have a clear image of what that looks like. Um, I with my team, we did a presentation about something similar to this about the representation of women in STEM, and particularly looking at how we the messages that we send to young girls about their place in STEM. And you should do this sometime as like a thought experiment yourself. If you Google girl scientists, it's really interesting because not only does it take you like 12 pages before you actually get to like a real life girl, like a girl in the sense of a young person doing science. The others are just like cartoons with like posing with a microscope or something. Um, but it gets even worse because you know how Google gives like suggestions for like clarifying your image search up in the top? The suggestions are like pretty illustration, beautiful. Yeah.
That's
It
crazy.
yeah, it's and you don't realize just how ingrained we are. You looking it up right now?
No, 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 no. I'm just no.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you were. It's really interesting. And I think it does speak to kind of these things that we just don't realize. Like we don't realize that there aren't many YouTube videos led by young black women until a young black woman does it. And then everyone realizes, oh my gosh, that's we've never had that before. So, you being a trailblazer hopefully will inspire more people to be trailblazers themselves, seeing somebody who has the courage to what's the word? Like stray from the norm.
Right.
So as we're kind of wrapping up here, what do you think has been like most instrumental in your journey in as a young woman trailblazer? Is there like a particular moment you think where you can look back and be like, that was the moment that my life changed? Or do you think a particular um experience or person has been influential in your journey? Like just reflecting back, what do you think is something important that has led you to where you are today?
Um, well, I can't stress enough the importance of role models. Girls who have role models in STEM are twice as likely to pursue STEM careers, and I am a testimony to that because when I think this was the summer after eighth grade, before I even started doing my YouTube channel. I
Mhm.
had gone to the Girls Who Code summer immersion program. I had been waiting to go since sixth grade because you have to be going into high school to do it, and I had been like really, I was so excited to do it, but it had to be virtual because COVID. And
Mhm.
when I joined the first session, the teacher introduced herself. It was a Black woman, and she told me that she worked at IBM. And she looked just like me. She was young. She was right out of college, and I was so excited. But like as soon as we got a break, I ran out of my room to tell my mom, I was like, "Our teacher, she's a Black girl, she works at IBM. She looks just like" I was so excited,
Awesome.
and I will never forget that moment. I'm pretty sure I stalked her on the internet after that. I was like I found out that she had been in pageants in college. I hope she doesn't watch this because she's gonna be like, "Eden, that is so creepy." But she was super cool. And see,
I'll make sure to send this video to her then.
listen, that's the power of having a role model because the same way that the kids that watch my videos, they stalk me on the internet and I do the same thing because you see someone who's like you and is doing something that you want to do, you just become so interested in them and you want to be just like them. And I
Yeah.
definitely can't stress enough the importance of having a role model because that was a life-changing moment for me. And I that was a time that I saw, oh, it's really possible for a Black woman to be a computer scientist and be successful and be at a prestigious company and be thriving.
That's so awesome. And I'm so glad you had that experience. And so going off that though, what advice would you give to somebody who maybe doesn't yet have a role model or doesn't know where to find somebody, like somebody who maybe is the only girl in an all guy computer science class and doesn't know where to find those role models? What advice would you give to them?
I would say definitely to seek out different after school programs and just diversity in STEM programs. I recommend Girls Who Code. If you're in Illinois, I recommend working with Exelon or ComEd. I've done a couple STEP programs with ComEd STEM labs. Those are super fun. You get to meet kids from around the city and just build robots and have a great time. Um, there's a lot of different companies, especially like just like tech companies in your area. There are lots of initiatives to help out girls in STEM. So if you go looking for the role models, they're not everywhere, but if you go looking, then you'll definitely find them. If you just see someone maybe on LinkedIn or just a professional that you find really interesting and they're in a field that you want to get into, you can introduce yourself. Don't be afraid. People always love to see a young person advocating for themselves.
Yeah.
So the resources are really out there if you want to go find them. And if you can't find them, you can always reach out to me because I love helping a fellow girl in STEM.
Uh-huh. That's wonderful to hear. I love all of that advice um that's I think that's a perfect way to end. So thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome to just hear your story and hear your thoughts. Um I personally am very inspired by your confidence. So thank you for doing what you're doing. I'm excited to see how Lemonerdy grows. Definitely be following your journey on LinkedIn. Um and yeah, thank you. If is there any like last parting words you want to share?
Um, I would just say don't be afraid to pursue what you want. If it's something that you're good at or that you want to be good at, something that you care about, and something that will help others, it is definitely something that you should pursue and something that you can use to blaze a trail and make a change.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Eden. This has been great. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye, everyone.